difficult too, right? So then if we start with advanced. Bueno, my dear. So we're gonna be working on the last class of the intermediate two level, right? Which is the week number 8. It's a very easy class. It's just like basically for talking, no? So in this case, I'm going to start the class with two questions, right? So what do you expect of your life? What do you expect of your life by the time you are 35? In this moment, you are 31, 32,
31.
31. Yeah, we are the same age. So what do you expect by the time that you are 35?
I don't know. It's very soon. Uh, but I expect I will to be more independent economically.
Okay, okay. Well, like not depending only on your job, but having other different sources.
Yes, yes. Mm, I hope I going to work in uh, with my time, not for other uh, factory.
Good, very good. So you're going to become your own employer, basically,
Yes,
more or
teacher.
less. Yes. Okay, that's good. That's good. Very good. And I would say, well, I was expecting that you said something similar, so I had another question for you. If you hadn't bought your apartment back in the time when you bought it, like 2020, was it? Yes, 2020, yes?
2020.
2020. So if you hadn't bought your apartment in this moment, how would you see your future? Would you see it equally as you're seeing it now? Like you said, like I expect to be more economically independent. But if you hadn't bought your apartment, what would be your prediction for the future? Would you have the same perception or maybe a different one?
A little different because the apartment uh, many things for me. Not only the economical stability,
Mhm.
uh, but also uh, the apartment have many uh, mm,
Benefits?
yes, significance
Ah, significance.
for me.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, because it's the moment when we became independent, no? So before we were depending of our parents, and it was like we were still kind of adolescents in some way,
Yes,
but then we became independent.
and it's very different when you can to stay in your space. Um, yes, it's different. It's very
Completely
different.
different. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so well, the question is, if you hadn't got your apartment, would you still think on being economically independent on the time that you are 35? Or would you have a different prediction about the future?
If I hadn't bought my apartment, mm,
Mhm.
I will I will see. It's correct.
Yeah.
I will see my future as maybe a I don't know, maybe married, maybe.
Ah, married to a man, of course. Yes, married with a.
Yes, yes,
Okay. Okay, like depending on another person, maybe.
sure.
Mm.
But for other person, the stability is to be with other person. But
Ah,
for me, no.
sure. That's true. That's true. Good. Very good. That's an important thing that you can analyze. No? So, like, if for you the stability is having another person, yeah. But in this case, it's not. So you are taking into account your finance, your investment, putting your money to work. No, you know the concept of putting the money to work, like investing, no? So using your money to make more money, no? So putting the money to work, right? So well, very good. Well, in this case, we're talking about this thing because we're taking into account our future, but we already know how to use our future, no? So we said, okay, teacher, because when I'm 35, I will be economically independent, right? I'm going to work for myself. Yes, going to. That's it. I will be working as a freelancer, maybe, right? But a part of that, when we said like, bueno, by the time that you're 35, which you said it's very soon, right? That is not the moment when the things are going to happen. Probably the things are going to happen before. Probably the things are going to happen the next year. Probably it's going to be a process that starts right now and completes in that moment, right? But the action is not going to happen exactly in that time. So when we use that thing, when we talk about an action that will have happened before a time limit in the future, but it's not going to happen there, it's going to finish before that, then we can use the future perfect. If you remember, the future perfect, it's used will, have, and the very past participle. In that case, we said, like, for example, by the time I'm 35, I hope that I will have had a child. Maybe when I'm 34, maybe something like that, but I hope I will have had a child, right? Specifically in what moment? No idea, but before that, the action I hope that we'll have done, right? But also, well, in that case, the action, it's something that is going to happen and that's it. Will happen before the time at 35 and that's it. But at the same time, I can also talk about a process, something that in that time will be happening, right? But the action started before. What I can say, for example, here is that, for example, I hope that by the time I'm 35 years old, I will have been living in USA for a couple of years. Maybe for 1 year, for 2 years, that's a possibility, right? But it's only a prediction, no? It's not defined. I cannot say that I am going to live there because it's not sure. It's a possibility. It's only a desire. So I'm thinking like I will have been living in USA for a couple of months. Here we can identify 4 different verbs. Will, number 1, have, number 2, been, number 3, and the verb in ing, number 4. Bueno, this it's going to be called a future perfect continuous. A future perfect continuous is used for talking about a longer action in the future. And it's going to be focused in the time. For how much time I will have been doing that action? Habré estado haciendo that action for, in this case, a couple of years. Yes? So when we talk about the future perfect is an action that will happen before a time limit. In this case, by the time I'm 35, that's the time limit. But when I'm talking about a future perfect continuous, it's not only an action that will have happened before that, but it's a longer action. And the action is not finished yet. It started before, yes, but by that time, I will have been doing the action and focus on the time for a couple of years, for 3 years, for a couple of hours, for a couple of months, right? For example, by December, by no mentiras, November, by November 17th, yes, we will have been studying for exactly mentiras, 8 months. Yes, because we finish on December 17, right? So it means that on December the 17th, it's 9 months exactly. So by November 17, we will have been studying for 8 months. The action started before. It started in April 17. So in November 17, which is the future, yes, the action will have been happening for 8 months. That it's X in this case, 8 months. Ready? So that's the use of the future perfect continuous. The future perfect simple, which is this one, it's simply like habré, habremos, hecho, finalizado, ta, ta, ta. But in that case, it's habré estado finalizando, habré estado haciendo, habré estado trabajando, especially talking about the time. So usually we're going to have the preposition for a couple of weeks, for 8 months, for a couple of years, for ta, ta, ta. ¿Qué dices, André? ¿Cómo vas? All good? All fine? Más o menos.
Yes, teacher. The difference is the in the future perfect. There are the limit of time,
Mhm. But actually,
but
in both, there is like a
but
moment when I want to talk about, ¿no? O sea, hay como un momento. Just in one case is the limit of time, like when I say, antes de eso tiene que haber sucedido. On the future continuous, también hay un momento como donde uno para, pero para medir, decir, bueno, hasta este momento habré estado haciendo la cosa por tanto tiempo. Pero también hay como un punto ahí en el futuro donde uno para, ¿no? Right?
okay. Yes, teacher.
Bueno, my dear. So, wait, acá, here. We know that we have been having the future in different forms. The future simple with will, the present continuous for a future, that I am working, I am studying tonight, no sé qué. Hay muchas formas de futuro, ¿no? So, also we have the future with present, that I plan to, I want to, no sé qué. Tú dijiste, I hope to, no sé qué. Bueno, perfecto, that's it, right? And also the futures with will, the predictions. Simple future, will embrace form. Future continuous, will be an ing. I will be living, I will be working. Solo para procesos en el futuro, right? And the future perfect. I told you it's the limit of time. The action is going to happen at any moment, ready? In addition to that, we have the future perfect continuous, ¿no? Which is going to be, ok, sí, tengo un límite, pero la acción habrá estado pasando y me enfoco en el tiempo, ready? Just for example, here, Andre, could you please help me to read the blue example?
By the end of the years, I have learned how to cook very well.
Mhm. So I don't know, but by the end of the year, o sea, by December of this year, yes, I will have learned how to cook very well. Posiblemente ahí voy en el proceso, ¿no? Maybe I am finishing, de pronto ya en noviembre ya súper bien, para diciembre ya, I will have learned to cook very well, right? No es un proceso continuo, it's just like, a veces sí, a veces no, so that's it. But the action will have been finished, right? Opposite to that, we have a process which is continuous. Tenemos un proceso que sí es continuo. Help me with the red example, my dear. Read it, please.
By the end of the years, I have been living in my new flat for 8 months.
Exactly. Entonces, el tiempo es igual, by the end of
Flat
the
es
year.
como piso.
Exactly. Sí, como mi piso, como mi apartamento, ¿no? But that's it.
Okay.
Ready? So, by the end of the year, o sea, again, by December of 2023, I will have been living. Why? Because it's a continuous action. Yes? O sea, yo no dejo de vivir acá en ningún momento. Simplemente, I will have been living in my new flat for 8 months, right? Entonces, it's a different kind of action when I use the future perfect simple and when I use the future perfect continuous. It's a different kind of action. Es una acción diferente, ¿vale? ¿Listo, André?
Yes, teacher.
It's a little bit difficult, but I mean, it's like confusing, but when we start making examples, it's going to be much easier, no?
Teacher,
So
why
let's,
the different action?
why the different action? Or what is the
Why?
difference in the action?
No, why?
How come why? I mean, because in this action, these actions are things that happen once and twice and thrice,
Ah, okay.
but there is no a process.
Step by
But
step.
exactly, see, it's like one, or it can happen and finish and that's it. For example, when I learn to cook, I stop learning. Ya cuando haya aprendido de cocinar, pues ya no voy a aprender más, ya simplemente cocinaré, pero la acción de aprender ya se habrá acabado, o sea, la acción finalizó, right? But in this case, no. The action it's like, en ese momento sí, o sea, habré vivido o habré estado viviendo, pero continúa. Después de ahí, la acción sigue porque pues
Okay, okay,
will
okay.
continue living, right?
Yes.
¿Listo? Y especially here, it's going to be focused on the time. For 8 months, o sea, ¿cuánto tiempo? What is the duration of this action? No? So, X, it's the time, no? So, 8 months, 3 weeks, so on, right? Entonces, casi siempre las que son con future continuous, future perfect continuous, are going to have the preposition for y la unidad de tiempo. ¿Por cuánto tiempo habré estado haciendo esa acción? ¿Vale? Good?
Okay, teacher.
Very good. So, asking about yourself. Ay, Dios, great. Asking about yourself, I would like to know, for example, how do you see the end of the year for you? How do you see the end of the year for you?
I don't know.
Anything that you will have done? You'd say, teacher, de aquí a que se acabe el año tengo que haber tan.
Maybe by the end of the year, I'll have visited other places
Like which ones
in
would you
Colombia,
like?
in the country.
Which ones would you like?
Um, I would like to go to Nevado de Santa Isabel,
Where is that? I haven't never listened about
but
it.
but I have uh, to be very fit or more fit,
It's
more
climbing
prepared for this. Yes,
for climbing.
for
Ay, ay,
climbing.
ay. Okay, okay, very good. That's it. But you don't exercise too much.
Yes, 3 or 4 times in the week.
Andres, so you should be prepared, no? It's too difficult? It's too hard?
It's difficult for me because I am asthmatic.
Ah, no, of course. Okay, in that case, it's very difficult for you. And where is the Nevada, bueno, snow cap of Santa Isabel? In what department? In
Eh,
what region?
Está como ubicado entre varios departamentos.
It's in the snow cap park? El Parque de los Nevados? No, 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 it's not there.
Yes, yes.
Ah, yes? Ah, okay. Como entre el Huila, Antioquia, just like that, no?
Tolima, sí. Ujú.
Okay, very good. That's it. Okay, excellent. So that's one prediction that you hope for the end of the year. No, not exactly when, maybe November, maybe December, but before the end of the year, you will have done that. Very good, excellent. Is there anything, well, when did you start? Do you know specifically the date when you started in your job?
I started in my job in
June what?
June 2023.
Okay, June 23rd. 23rd, muy bien. So we would say, for example, that by June 23rd, 2024, what? What do you think? How much time has passed from the first time until now? And what is the action that you will have been doing for specifically that time?
By June 23 of 2024,
Uh-huh.
uh, I have been always been.
Yes, because it's continuous. So it's
Yes,
verb to be and ing. I will have been.
being in bed in being learning.
Yes, but we're talking about working, right? Because it's your job, right? But of course, in your job,
Yes,
you also learn. But yeah, so basically,
sí, yes.
you will have been working,
Okay. Working
huh?
uh,
For how much time?
for 1 year.
Exactly, for 1 year, because that's the anniversary, no? So by June of 23rd of 2024, I will have been working for 1 year. Yes, the action started in the past June, but on the moment when we count, that is the next June, you will have been working for 1 year. It's a continuous action, no? So different from the other one, this one it's continuous. And after that, possibly it's going to continue. So that's why in this case, we use the future perfect continuous. Yes, a little bit better, un poquito mejor. It's a little bit confusing, but
Yes, teacher.
yes.
Pero confusión como en la traducción, porque yo empiezo, bueno, I will, es como habré,
Sí, exactly. Sí,
habré
entonces
estado, habré
habré
siempre es habré
estado,
estado.
sí, exactly. Habré, habrás, siempre el estado y el ando endo. Ahora, for example, I
Ok.
can say that by, no sé, let's say by May 2024, this is, no recuerdo, creo que by May 22nd, but I'm not sure. By May 22nd, my wife will have been living with me, oh fuck, with me for 3 years. So by that moment, by May of 2024, my wife will have been living for me, with me for 3 years, ¿no? Entonces, habrá, en ese caso, she will have been, habrá estado, y ya lo que cambia es el verbo, in this case, viviendo, right? But all time is will have, and then the verb will have been, perdón, will have been, and then the verb in ing, ¿vale?
Yes, teacher.
¿Mm? Listo. Eso sí es el continuo. Si es el perfecto, si es solamente will, have y el verbo en past participle, el que sea. Okay, for example, no sé, by the end of the year o by what? By 2024, by, yes, before the other year, I will have finished my second job. I have a job because another different job creating didactic material, yes, of another different company. So in that case, but I have to finish on November the 30th, probably on December. But I know that by the 2024, I will have finished. In that case, it's only will, have, and the very past participle. Esta no se enfoca en el tiempo. Esa es simplemente, ya lo habré terminado. That's it. No más. ¿Cuándo? No sé. I don't know. It's an incógnita. Ready? Pero acá
Yes.
sí se enfoca en el tiempo. Es por cuánto tiempo lo habré estado así. ¿Vale? Is that right?
Yes, teacher.
Muy bien. Very good, my dear. Bueno. So, the first question was I asked you like, when, if you had the possibility, what do you expect by the time that you are 35? So you told me like, well, like, if you said, for example, ya me habré vuelto, how would you say me habré vuelto o convertido?
Um, I will have been,
Being, it's like
become.
habré sido become, muy bien, que become es become, became, become. Entonces, I will have become financially independent. That's one of the things, no? So I will have been sorry, I will have become financially independent, right?
Okay.
If I ask you like one action that you will have been doing for some time, a lo que habrás estado haciendo until the time that you are 35, o sea, en 4 añitos más, something that you will have been doing, can you think of something? ¿Podrías pensar en algo? Something that you will have been doing for some time.
In present, in future, perfect.
Future perfect continuous, porque si es algo que habrás estado haciendo,
Okay.
sería future perfect continuous.
Mm, in December of this year.
Of
I
this year?
will have of this year. I will have been uh, making exercise. Is correct?
Puede ser,
Or
o simplemente el verbo exercise ya de por sí es ejercitarse. Entonces
okay,
puedes decir, I will have
exercising
been exercising. Exacto.
for 2 years.
Very good. And how do you do with the asthma when you exercise? Not a problem?
Yes, but I started little by little.
Ah, okay, okay. But in this moment, no problem. Before,
In
there
this
was a
moment, no.
problem.
In this
Ah,
moment, I am
bueno.
very good.
Good, good, good. Excellent. Well, I didn't know that it was it was good for the asthma too. I suppose that you train cardio for training the lungs.
Yes, but there are moments when it's difficult. For example, when it's very cold
My God.
and when I have how do you say gripa?
When I have the flu.
When I have the flu, it's difficult.
Oh, you know what, Andre, when you have the flu, you go to exercise. Qué pereza when we are, my God.
Es mejor.
Really?
It's difficult, but it's better for the flu
No, yo no puedo salir de la
because
cama. Come on.
las mujeres somos más fuertes.
Yes, it looks like it. Yes.
Sí, usted suda la
No, my
gripa y es
God.
mejor.
Uy, no, o sea, qué dolor de todo me da pensar ahí en la corredora, pero con gripa, no, my God. Okay. And for example, if you go with the flu, you have to work with a mask, with a face mask.
Yes, yes,
No, parce,
yes.
how do you
Uh,
feel wrong with a face mask?
but the exercise is more
Intense.
easy, more
Ah,
less
no.
intense.
Oh, less intense, more relaxed.
Yes,
Ah, well, okay, very good. Yeah, because you cannot breathe with flu and with face mask.
yes,
No,
yes.
my God. Yeah, pues, okay, yeah, very good, excellent. Bueno, so the first question was about that, about the future. And then you tell me, like, teacher, I will have done I will have complete that, or I will have been completing this thing for some time, right? So in this case, for example, you will have been exercising in December of the year, but for 2 years. O sea, after the pandemic, you started to exercise,
Mm,
more or less. Or during the
yes,
pandemic?
yes. No, in the pandemic, no.
After.
After, yes.
After. Okay, very good. Exactly. So in that case, you tell me like things that by the end of this year, or bueno, by the time that you're 35, you will have completed, right? Only talking about the future. But in the second question, we were looking about the future, yes, but we were talking about the future taking into account the past. So in this case, there was a relationship between your past and your future, right? I said, well, if you hadn't bought your apartment, it's a hypothetical situation that can modify the consequence in the present, right? So in this case, we're going to take into account the second topic. We have a hypothetical case in the past, right? Of course, we know that when we have hypothetical situations in the past, we use the conditional number 3, which is with if plus the subject plus had plus the very past participle plus the complement. Si yo hubiese hecho o si no hubiese hecho, ta, ta, ta. And then the consequence is going to be just the subject, would or could or might, or and might, it's a possibility. And then, como es una consecuencia en el pasado, have, and then the verb in past participle, ¿cierto? And then, of course, the complement. So I would say, for example, no, teacher, if I hadn't studied, if I hadn't studied environmental engineering, ¿cierto? Si no hubiese estudiado ingeniería ambiental, I would have studied no sé, ¿qué otra carrera, André? Biology,
Psychology.
maybe? Psychology? Okay, very good. So you said psychology, right? Muy bien, entonces Ambas son situaciones del pasado. Si no hubiera estudiado esto, habría estudiado esto. That's it. Una situación hipotética en el pasado con consecuencia igualmente en el pasado, antes de nuestro presente, right? Ese es el tercer condicional. Pero resulta que tú dijiste, bueno, si yo no hubiera comprado ese apartamento en este momento, sería otra persona, ¿cierto? En ese momento no sería tan independiente, no tendría tanto futuro, you know, so in this moment, right? Entonces, in this case, we're talking about a hypothetical situation in the past, yes, but the consequence is not about the past, it's going to be a consequence about the present. So in this case, what we're going to do is to mix the condition of the conditional number 3 with the consequence of the second conditional. The second conditional, if you remember, it's a hypothetical case, but in the present, with a consequence in the present. And in that case, I use the subject plus would, o could, o might, lo mismo, pero sin have. Solamente could, or might, or would, and then the verb, no en past participle, sino en infinitive. Y de esa manera digo que si no hubiera hecho tal cosa, en este momento estaría haciendo otra. Entonces, por ejemplo, if I hadn't studied environmental engineer, ¿sí? Si no hubiese estudiado environmental engineer, pues en este momento obviamente I wouldn't work, or I wouldn't be working, I wouldn't work. What is the name of the company, Andre? What is the name of the company?
Asear.
I wouldn't work in like this. It's like that? No.
Yes, teacher.
Yes?
It's correct.
Okay, perfect, exactly. Entonces, you said, if I hadn't studied environmental engineering, I wouldn't work in ASEAR. En el pasado, no, in the present. So that's why I use modal verb and the verb infinitive, que finalmente es la consecuencia del segundo condicional. Entonces, ¿qué estoy haciendo? Estoy mezclando dos condicionales. Por lo tanto, lo hablamos la clase pasada, se llama mixed condition. Mixed conditional because it's going to have one part of the third conditional and the other part of the second conditional. It's a hypothetical situation in the past with a consequence in the present. Ready? Entonces, in that case, you said, for example, teacher, si no hubiera comprado el apartamento en este momento, viviría con mis papás, for example, right? So you said, if I hadn't bought my apartment, right? If I hadn't bought the apartment or my flat, or bueno, as you prefer, my flat, yes. Now I would be, or I would live with my parents, right? Ahora, the consequence can be a process, like a continuous process. So the other thing that I can do is that I can use would or could or might, would or could or might, and then be, and then the verb in ing. Estaría haciendo tal cosa. For example, I would be living with my parents. Yes. So in that case, the consequence is not about the past, como en el tercer condicional, sino es en el presente. Pero es hipotética, como en el segundo condicional. So that's why it's a combination of the two conditionals, and that's why it's called the mixed condition. Ready? Más o menos? How do you feel?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, good. Bueno, very good. So in that case, well, let's see just the explanation. The explanation is over here. Bueno, we have, as I told you, the second conditional. Yes, for unrealistic situations or consequence now or in the future. Yes. And so that's the second part, would plus the verb. And it's combined with imagining a different past, hypothetical situation in the past, right? In that case, past perfect plus combined with the second part, of the second conditional. So that's going to be the mixed condition. ¿Listo? It's very simple. Is used for talking about hypothetical situations in the past with consequence in the present. Andre, would you please help me to read the example, dear?
If I hadn't missed the job interview, it'd be working now.
I'd be working.
I'd
now.
be working now.
I'd be working now. Exactly. So in that case, the person is saying, if I hadn't missed the job interview when? Before, probably yesterday or this morning, I don't know, but in the past, right? I would be working right now. So the consequence is hypothetical, but it's hypothetical about the present. So if I hadn't missed the job interview, I would be working right now, right? That's the thing. Questions under difficulties in this part?
No, teacher. It's clear.
Everything good. Very good. So, well, I was thinking on the apartment because that's an important moment of our lives. But I want you to think in one situation that could have changed your present. Maybe the career, maybe, I don't know, something that could have changed your present.
Change my present, teacher.
For
Mm,
example, I'm going to give you an example. If I hadn't lost my father, well, it was 20 years ago, but if I hadn't lost my father, maybe, well, it's not sure, but maybe in this moment, I would not be so responsible. I wouldn't be so responsible. If I hadn't lost my father, it would have changed my life in this moment. So I'm saying I wouldn't be so responsible now, not in the past, now, right? So hypothetical situation in the past that affects my present, right? If I hadn't lost my father, maybe in this moment I wouldn't be so responsible, right? So that's why I said something that could have changed your life in this moment. Maybe a decision in the past about the career, about your parents, about your ex-couples, no sé, something like that.
mm, déjeme pensarlo, teacher.
Tranqui, no worries, think.
If I hadn't mm, learned uh, drive
Good.
in the past,
Uh-huh.
in this moment, I wouldn't be in my motorcycle.
Good, that's it. If I hadn't learned, sorry, learn, it requires two and then the other verb. If I hadn't learned to
Okay.
drive in the past, what did you learn? Like many years ago?
No, teacher, in uh, 19, in 2019.
2019. Oh, but just before the pandemic. Oh, good.
Yes.
Very good. So if I hadn't learned to drive in 2019, for example, right? In this moment, I wouldn't have my motorcycle now, right? Now, I can use would and the verb in infinitive, that's it. It's a possibility. Or I can use would be and the verb in ing for saying like no estaría haciendo tal cosa. For example, if I hadn't learned to drive, I wouldn't, or I would not be using my bike every day. O sea, lo puedo abordar de diferentes formas. Simplemente como no haría esto o no estaría haciendo esto. Cualquiera de las dos formas, it's all right. So, my dear, ready?
Okay, teacher.
Mm. Ahora, it's also possible that it's not only for now, yes, but also for the future. For example, if I, well, sorry, if I hadn't learned to drive, same thing, I wouldn't I wouldn't buy my car next year. Sea, estás anticipando que vas a comprar un carro el próximo año, pero si no hubiese aprendido a manejar antes, pues no compraría mi carro el próximo año. Entonces, no solamente es para el presente, sino también para el futuro.
Futuro.
Ujú.
Okay.
¿Ready? ¿Qué dices, André? Más o menos, all good, fine,
More or less.
questionable.
Is a mix about the second and third condition.
Exactly. La primera parte del tercero con la segunda parte del segundo. Ready? So that's why.
Okay, teacher.
Ready? Bueno, I am going to make a simple question. What would you be doing? What would you be doing now in this moment? What would you be doing now if you if you hadn't started this course? What would you be doing right now if you hadn't started this course?
If I hadn't started this course,
Uh-huh.
course, I would I would have been singing a song in English, but very bad.
Ah, vea, pues, ok. But in that case, wait, because ambas pueden ser verdad. Puede ser I would have been singing, como habría estado cantando en el pasado, pero la pregunta es now. Por lo tanto, sería I would
I would.
be directamente, ¿cierto? Porque no necesitas el have, porque no es sobre el pasado, sino now. O sea, esta oración está bien, pero en el
Okay, okay.
pasado. In this case, it's now, so I would be singing.
Singing.
Singing music in English, but very bad, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Very good. That's it, right? Listo, my dear. So, and for example, another one. Wait. Ay, my God, wait. What or how would be your present? Let's change the question. How would be your present if you hadn't accepted your current job? If you hadn't accepted your current job.
If I hadn't accepted my current job in this moment, I would be looking other options for working.
Mhm.
Maybe remote works or more or less. I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Good, exactly. Well, we don't know because it's only a possibility, but it's possible that if you hadn't accepted your last job, but the current job, in this moment you would be looking for another one now. So that's it. Listo. And the last one, my dear, the last one with this one we finished today, it's how would how would you be now if you hadn't broken up with your ex? How would you be right now in this moment if you hadn't broken up with your ex couple?
Sí me enredé con la pregunta. Si tú no hubieras rompido,
Como terminado, ¿no?
okay.
Break up with. Ajá.
Um, if I hadn't broke up with my ex couple, um, I sure that in this moment I will be married.
Very good, excellent. So if I hadn't broken up with him, bueno, with your ex, with my ex, yes, I'm sure. You said I'm sure. O sea, you are completely sure that in this moment I would be married with him. Hmm? Okay, does it make you sad or happy that you didn't make that mistake?
I don't know that it's not included in my plans.
Mm, good, that's good. Bueno, my dear, so exactly like that. That's the purpose of this mixed conditional. So you are thinking about your past, but of course, your past have many decisions, or many, like a lot of influence into your present and sometimes into your future. So that's why we have to learn how to like mix, like combine the past hypothetical situations with the present or future hypothetical situations, no? Because there is a relationship between the past and the consequence that they produce into the present and possibly also in our future, right? So my dear, today
Okay,
just
teacher.
we talk about that conditional, talking about the condition, the mixed conditional, and also the future perfect and future perfect continuous, talking about like what do you expect of your life, not in a specific moment, but the things that can happen in the future, but you don't know exactly when, and when it's future perfect simple, and the things that you will have been doing for some time into the future, like also for how much time you will have been doing that action in the future. And that's it basically, but that's the exercise. So my dear, questions, problems, difficulties, anything?
No, teacher, is clear.
It's clear. Bueno, Andres, so you have this week for completing what you need to complete. It's all the week, so take advantage of the time. If you have any questions about the activities, the checkpoints, text me. Text me, and I will be very attentive with you. And because we are going to enable that level for the next week. Okay, the next level, I'm sure that we're going to continue together. Okay, so no problem. Ready?
Okay, teacher, thank you very
Bueno,
much.
my dear. So have a good week. Complete everything. Go to rest, and see you the next week. Okay.
Yes, teacher, the same for you. Good night.
Have a good week, my dear. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.